I think we're on. I hope we're on. If anyone's there, if you'd like to just type some comments, nice ones, in the comments box, whether you be on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else, then hopefully they'll find their way onto the screen our end. And I can't see that far, but Corin will be able to see them. And we'll be able to speak to you and answer any questions and respond to your comments. So somebody please make a comment so we know there's someone there. We can see there's a few people. Here we go. They're all watching. We can see how many people are watching. There's several thousand at the moment. So we'll crack on. Well, first of all, thanks for coming to the live briefing. It is live, therefore don't expect what's his name, Jonathan Ross or Graham Norton or that kind of thing. We're not we are pros, but you know what I mean. Don't expect it to be too polished. Hello, Facebook user. If you're on Facebook and you haven't given us authorization to use your name, there's a little link. There should be a little link on the Facebook post there somewhere if you're on Facebook. We won't know it's you. So put your name before you comment, even though it says it on Facebook. We don't see that bit. All right, so we're going to do the briefing for the Compton Verney Sprint Triathlon. So first of all, thank you very much for entering. This is our first sprint triathlon at Compton Verney, and you know, when you start these things off, you never quite know how popular they're going to be, and we've been kind of completely blown away by the uptake for this particular event. So thank you very much for entering our race and putting your faith in us to give you and deliver you a good race. We haven't done it yet, but that's what we're aiming to do anyway. So some introductions. Those of you guys who come to open water swimming at Compton Verney will know us already, no doubt. Well, let's start with you, Corin. You're more important than I am. Let's start with you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Corin. I work full-time with Dave at D3. I'm one of the swim coaches and help with all things D3, really. Anything that Dave dreams up for me to do.
You have your fair share of dreaming things up as well, it must be said. So yeah, Corin. Without meaning to embarrass you, Corin is my right hand woman.
I think Sarah James is right hand man.
Yeah.
I'll be left hand.
So yeah, very hugely valuable to do three, and yeah, I won't say any more than that. You're pretty damn special for D3. And I'm Dave Knight. I am the head coach and founder. I always think that sounds really, really grand, of Do3. And yeah, responsible for a lot of the stuff that you guys get involved in, I guess, along with help from everybody else. So that's us. And the objective for today really is to go through the athlete guide and to answer any questions that you have. So quite simply, we're going to run through the guide with some kind of explanatory notes so we can expand on it a little bit. So hopefully you'll go into the race knowing exactly what it is that you need to be doing, where you need to be going, what time you need to be where, all that kind of stuff. And if you've got any things that you're still unsure about, then give us a shout. All right. We are conscious that it's a sprint triathlon and we have lots and lots of newbies or first timers or whatever you want to call beginners or first timers, but there's lots of you out there and we appreciate that, and we recognize that you guys may need a little bit more of a helping hand. So that's what we're here to do. All right, so should we crack on?
Yeah.
All right. So again, if you've got any questions or comments anywhere along that, we can see lots of things coming in here from, we got Richard and Joe and various other Facebooks. Got
Emily.
Facebook user, Emily.
On Facebook, and who else have we got on Facebook? Bex Pridham.
Good. Nice to see you all. Well, kind of, you know what I mean. Right, so we're going to crack on. So, yeah, it's our first sprint triathlon at Compton Verney. We did put a sprint triathlon on because we wanted to open our races up to more people who are new to the sport. That's one of the reasons the swim is a little bit shorter than it would be in a normal kind of triathlon sprint. So we've shortened it to, it should normally be 750 for a sprint, but we're doing 400 meters to try and make it a little bit more kind of beginner friendly, because that's one of the objectives for us with putting this race on. We wanted to get as many people involved in the race as possible to give it a go. So Compton Verney, I think many of you will have been to Compton Verney in the past. We run open water swimming sessions there 3 times a week. So we're well used to standing by the lake at Compton Verney. Absolutely fantastic venue. It's a museum. Is it a museum or art gallery anyway? Art gallery. and a pretty special place to visit in its own right. The grounds are amazing. If you haven't already been there, obviously you'll see it on Saturday evening or Sunday. The grounds are fantastic, and the lake and the grounds have been designed by Capability Brown. So it's a pretty special place. It's a pretty special place, and I think you'll be really pleased when you come along to see it. We're super proud to be there. Really proud that we're actually able to operate from there. So hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Yeah, I'm just reading through my notes here. We wanted to put together a race that would be that kind of showcase the venue, and also kind of obviously put a good race on for you guys that you could would be challenging and enjoyable. This is obviously the sprint edition of the race. We do have a middle distance on at the same time, which goes off a little bit earlier. But the sprint, still can't, they can call them sprints, but they're still well over an hour long for most people. So still an endurance event, and still a big task for you to take on. So what we're going to do, actually, I think what we're going to do is just run through the event schedule, and we'll talk about various elements as we go through. So first of all, you can register on Saturday evening from 7 till 9 p.m. There's registration on Sunday morning as well, but we wanted to give people the opportunity to pre-register, or register early, I should say, for the event. And that kind of takes the pressure off you on Sunday morning. It gives you a bit more opportunity to take your time on Sunday morning. We might be getting a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed, and just spend a little bit more time kind of, say, preparing yourself, stickering your bikes and that kind of thing, and then obviously getting yourself ready to actually race. So 7 till 9 registration is open on the Saturday. Parking for registration on the Saturday is at the Compton Verney main car park. So the car park that you would park in if you are visiting the house as normal. All right, which is different to where you're going to park on race day. Okay, so what's the best way of describing it? Effectively, if you drive to Compton Verney, just where you're going to be racing on the Sunday, and look for the main gate signs, it'll be clearly marked. So you shouldn't have too much trouble going in there. So you turn off the main road, and there's plenty of car parking spaces. Nice big open car park, and you have a welcome centre in front of you, and the registration will be there. So you should be able to find that. Hopefully, on Sunday morning, however, the parking is going to be up in it's effectively the overflow parking for Compton Verney when they have events on, which is up the hill, which probably doesn't mean a lot to most of you. But if you follow the signs in your, follow the instructions in the athlete guide, we are going to be asking you to come off the Fossway entrance, which is a change to the guide. We've had to move the entrance point away from. There's an entrance just up the road from Compton Verney main entrance. We're now moving and asking you to kind of to enter the car park via the actual Fossway instead. All right, so please try and do that for us. There will be signs kind of directing you in the right kind of direction where to go. So please try and remember to do that for us. So enter the car park off the Fossway, and there will be car parking marshals ready to direct you where to go and to get you all nice and parked up. On Sunday morning, you will then get your gear and walk down the hill. So the car park is at the top of a hill. You walk down a grassy hill. It'll be nice and clear which way you need to go to the actual kind of registration area, which is within Compton Verney grounds. The hill you will walk down is a grassy hill, and it's a what would you call it?
It's just a grass.
It's a grass field.
Yeah.
It's a grass field, and it has sheep in it and all that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if they'll be there on the day, but anyway, you walk down the hill. So it's lumpy and bumpy is I guess the point I'm trying to make, and it's going to be dark at that time in the morning. So please consider, I'd advise you to bring a head torch or some kind of torch so you can see where you're going. We're not going to light up the field full of sheep, so you're going to have to find your own way down. Should be fine down to Compton Verney grounds itself. It'll be nice and clear which way you need to go. When you arrive in Compton Verney, you're going to turn left and go down towards the transition area and down towards the registration area. I will bring up the map for you in a second and show you where you're going to be going, where you're going to register, and I'll talk about that in a second. So let me just bring up the map. There we go. If I can find it. Scan. There we go. Hopefully you can see that okay on the screen. So this is what I was talking about before. This is the road that comes past Compton Verney and kind of cuts the lake in two, as you can see there. This down here, as you can see my mouse there, is the normal car park. This is where you'll be parking for registration on the Saturday, not on the Sunday, because you won't let you in on the Sunday because there'll be people coming out of here racing. And the Fossway is this road up here on the left-hand side, and we're going to be using this entrance. So this is where it's changed. So we've got entrance here labelled up, but we've actually had to move it to this one over here. So you enter on this entrance here. So come down the road, and so you'll be directed to park in the little car park area there, and then you will follow the dotted line down the hill into Compton Verney, over the bridge, and then carry on walking down the road effectively to registration, which will be at the top end of the normal kind of car park. Is there anything else I need to say so far?
No, once you get down onto the site at Compton Verney, they'll be lighting down there, but as Dave said, not down from the main car park. Yeah.
And just going back, I know I'm kind of jumping backwards and forwards a little bit here, but just going back to the Saturday, if you register on the Saturday, there will be time for you to kind of have a quick look at the lake and the lay of the land. The course won't be out fully, but there'll be bits and bobs starting to appear at that point. But at least you'll be able to kind of get an idea and a feel for what's where on race day. So you can do that if you come on the Saturday evening. Okay, so
just say on the Saturday evening there will also be some of the expo there. So there'll be Nerf Red, who's they're an online triathlon store. So they'll be on site on Saturday evening. So if there's any last minute things that you need, you can you be able to pick up those on the Saturday. They'll also be there on the Sunday morning, obviously during registration time. There won't be any food available on Saturday evening, but so Nerf Red and us with some of our merchandise probably be there as well on Saturday evening.
Yeah, also Joe from Cyclists Fighting Cancer will be there with he's the mobile mechanic for the day, so he'll be there on the Saturday evening if any of you have any kind of last minute panics with your bike and want him to have a look at those. He's not going to be able to kind of do any super fixes, so if there's anything fatal wrong with the bike, then he's not going to be able to sort those out for you, but if there's anything fairly minor that you're unsure about, you want him to have a look at, then he'll be there for you on the Saturday evening. Also on the Sunday morning, Joe will be there, and he will be out on the bike course during the race as well. So there will be bike. In fact, no, they won't be on the sprint. So Joe will be covering the middle distance race predominantly on the Sunday. So it's another reason to make sure your bike's in absolute tip-top condition for the sprint race. Right. So where were we? Okay. So going back to the Sunday then. So you will walk down. Let's get back on the screen. You will walk down to registration, and there will be some people there to greet you to actually pick up your race packs. So you will be divided into British Triathlon members and non-British Triathlon members to try and go to your respective queue to make sure you're in the right queue, which will make it easier for us. If you're a British Triathlon member, please remember to bring your BTF card, your race license. They call it a race license, a membership card, your photo ID. If you don't bring that, and we've got no way of proving that you're a BTF member, we will have to ask you to pay for a day pass there and then, okay? Because everyone needs to be either a full kind of a longer term member of BTF, British Triathlon Federation, or you need to have a day license, which there's a £5 charge. So please remember to bring your BTF day license if you have one. If you're not a BTF member, you've already paid your £5. That's why your membership fee was £5 more. Okay?
The race entry fee.
The race entry fee. We haven't pocketed that extra bit. That's for British Triathlon. That's why there's a price difference. Is there anything else I need to say in terms of? Oh, if you haven't got a British Triathlon membership card and you're not a member, therefore, you need to bring some other form of photo ID so we can see who you are. Okay, so please remember to bring something, a driving license or some other form of documentation, so we can just have a quick look at you and just make sure that we've got the right person in front of us.
In terms of licenses, you can show your BTF license on your phone, or you can have a printed copy of your card, because they don't issue actual physical cards now. So yeah, as long as you've got it on your phone or on printout, that's fine. Somebody's asked, has it got to be cash for day licence? So I think we can take cards for day licences.
Yeah. Try and bring.
You shouldn't need to be paying for a day licence on the day unless you've forgotten your BTF card. Because if you're not a member and you've entered the race as a non-member, you will already have paid for your day licence. It's only if you forget to bring your licence, or if it's expired, that you'll need to pay anything on the day.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Again, keep the questions coming. We will run through those. There's lots of things popping up on the screen, so we'll run through those as soon as we get chance, or at the end, or whenever the time comes. So you will register. If I bring up the screen again, whiz back down here again. Not too many screens. It's very confusing. Here we go. So.
You want to say what's in the race pack?
Yeah.
Registration.
Do you want to go through that?
So.
Yeah.
When you register, obviously you're showing your licence or your ID if you haven't got a licence, and you'll be given your race day pack. In your race pack, you will have a swim hat. You'll have 2 numbers. So if you have a race belt, you only need to use 1 number because you'll be able to turn it from your back to your front. You wear your number on your back for the cycle element of the race, and on your front for the run. So if you've got a race belt, you can move it round. If you haven't got a race belt, you've got 2 numbers, pin one on the front of your jersey or t-shirt and one on the back. So you'll have number, hat, safety pins. You'll have a wristband which you must wear at all times during race day. You won't be able to get into transition without it. And you will have numbers, stickers for your helmet and for your bike. And you'll need to put those onto your bike and helmet before you go into transition. So Dave will go on to what happens when you go into transition. But I think that's everything in the race pack. I think
so.
Somebody will probably pop up and say, "You've forgotten this."
Yeah.
Your timing chip.
Timing chip. We always forget that.
Crucial piece of equipment. You'll have a band that goes around your ankle and a timing chip on it. And you wear that throughout race day until you cross the finish line, when you'll take it off and put it in a bucket. You must return your timing chip at the end of the race, or you'll be charged for it.
You'll be hunted down. Okay, all right, so we're just going to go back to the little map here, just so I can give you an idea about, again, you can have a look at what's going on where. So you're going to walk down here to registration, which is the welcome centre for those of you that know it. So you're going to be down here. There will be toilets and things around. There's not a map with that one, I think, isn't there? But there's toilets around down here. There's toilets in the welcome centre, and there are toilets over in the main house as well. So there's plenty of toilets around for you guys. So you will then register where you get the pack that we just talked about, and you will spend some time in this car park here preparing your gear, effectively putting your stickers on your helmet, putting your stickers on your bike, and getting yourself prepared to put your bike and the rest of your gear in transition, which again we'll talk about in a minute. It's all right. So the car park's going to be largely empty. There's going to be plenty of space, so you can just kind of take your time getting ready down in that kind of area there. Let's just go back up to the schedule. All right, so you've registered. Transition itself actually opens at 4:30. Okay, so 4:30 you can actually start putting your bike and your gear into transition. You're looking at me like I've missed something out there.
No, I was just. We need to. When you go into transition, there will be somebody checking. You'll have your bike checked. You need to make sure that your brakes are working. One of the common things that happen is people put their bikes in the car, put their wheels back on when they get it out, and forget to do their brakes up. So you will have a check as you go into transition that your brakes are working. You will need to wear your helmet and have it done up. The marshals in transition will be checking that your helmet is secure and that it's the strap is not too loose. So you should only be able to get 2 fingers underneath your strap. So that must be done up, and you must have your number on your helmet and your bike and on your wristband. And only athletes who are racing can go into transition. No family members, pets, children are allowed into transition. That's a British Triathlon ruling. So please make sure that they're looked after elsewhere, and it's just you that goes into transition. All the racking in transition is numbered, so you'll need to find your number and then rack your bike. So the easiest way is to hook your saddle over the rack where your number is, with the handlebars facing towards you. So your bike is facing away from the rack, ready to lift it off and run out of transition for the bike element.
Okay.
So you can take a bag into transition if you want to. Please try and keep it fairly small. No boxes, please. And those can be left next to your bike while you're racing. Please try and be considerate of other athletes around you and the space that you leave. So just put your stuff on one side of your bike and leave space for the bike next to you.
Okay. I'm hoping we're still on because I think we had a bit of a glitch there. I'm not sure what was happening there. Okay, just give me 2 seconds. I think we've had a bit of a computer failure here. Let's get rid of this. There we go. Hopefully you can still see that. Okay, good. Sorry, something went a bit weird our end there. Okay, so as you just brought up the kind of the map with a little bit more detail in, so you can see what's what. Again, registration, the toilets and things. You can see the transition area is a long kind of narrow area. The entrance to transition is actually at the top here. This little kind of narrow section. So that's where you'll be checked in, and like Corin says, your helmet will be checked in your bike and that kind of thing. And obviously the racking will be within this area here. The exit transition is at the bottom, so you'll be coming out down here, and when you are kind of getting yourself ready to race and you're prepared to make your way towards the start, you're going to be coming over in this direction and following the line through the trees, because this line through the trees here is where the swim queue is going to be. Okay, your race starts at 8:30, so 8:30, but transition closes at 7:15. Okay, transition closes at 7:15, and the main reason for that is because the middle distance race, the races will be starting, so they start at 7, so they will be starting to enter transition actually in a live race from about 7:20, 7:25 onwards. So we need to make sure you guys are clear from transition in good time. Now that does mean that you're going to be waiting around a little bit, so you can have an hour or so before you start your race, but there's not a great deal we can do about that, unfortunately. So I'm sure you'll have friends and family and other race mates to talk to on the way, and of course you can spend some time watching the racing that's going on as well. So you'll be able to get a glimpse of the lake while you're queuing up and things. So there will be plenty of things to keep you occupied. So just so as you're aware of that, I'm just going to bring that back in terms of schedule. So yeah, so your race starts at 8:30. And it was pretty much onto the actual course now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. I guess. So let's bring up the bike course for you.
Swim course.
The swim course even. I do know which order it's in. Just wait for my computer to catch up. Transition. We've already gone through transition.
While Dave's putting that bit up, in terms of transition, if you're in a relay team, you will be able to enter transition, because that's where you'll be handing over your race chip, which is effectively your baton for the relay. So if you're the cyclist on the relay team, you'll be able to go into transition when your swimmer's in the water. If you're the runner, you'll be able to go into transition when the cyclist is out. You will have marking on your wristband to say that you're in a relay team, so that will give you access to transition when it's otherwise closed.
Okay, good. Okay, so there we go. Just brought the screen up there so you can see the swim course. It's a little bit small on there. I can just about see that. So those of you who are used to swimming at Compton Verney regularly will be normally swim anti-clockwise. So we swim the way around. But on race day, we're going to be going clockwise. So you're going to be effectively getting, this might confuse some of you who haven't been there, but if you've been before, you're going to be effectively getting in where you usually get out. So swimming it the other way around. So anyway, we're going to be getting in on the left-hand side of the start-finish area, swimming immediately kind of down towards the left side, down towards the bottom of the lake. And you will hit the first yellow buoy, keep the buoy on your right-hand side, make a right turn. And then similarly, the orange buoy, keep it on your right hand side, make another right hand turn, and then all the way back up. and then it'll be quite easy for you to see which way to go. You get back up to the top buoy, turn a right, and you'll be straight onto the exit there. So really quite straightforward. If you're used to swimming at Compton Verney, these buoys have moved. So our usual course is about 250 metres. This is obviously 400, so those two buoys have been moved down a little bit. So shouldn't be a huge surprise, because you should have worked out that it's a bit longer than usual. But just so as we pointed that out to you, they're not going to be where you usually see them. So they will have moved down the lake a little bit.
There will be two buoys further down the lake, which will be there from the middle distance race.
Yeah.
So please remember, you only need to go round 4 buoys. You don't need to go all the way down the lake to the last 2. So you just turn left after you enter the lake, and then turn right round the first big yellow buoy that you come to.
That's a very good point, actually, isn't it? Because it would be quite easy just to keep on going straight. Yeah, so you've got to definitely make sure you make this turn here, otherwise you're going to end up down the bottom of the lake somewhere.
There will be kayakers in the water,
yeah.
So we will be herding you if you head off down the long loop. But just try and remember that you don't have to go all the way down to the end of the lake.
Okay. So you'll then jump out of the water. We will have, just so while I think about it, we will have members of staff there to assist you getting in and getting out of the water. The lake at Compton Verney is beautiful, and we want to try and keep it that way. So it's not the kind of lake that we're able to embed big kind of concrete platforms and this kind of stuff to get you in. We do have to try and keep the environment as natural as it is. So the start and finish areas are fairly tight. And it's the bottom of a lake, so we're going to have a couple of members of staff on the entrance and on the exit in wetsuits, assisting you to get in and out of the water. It's not as bad as it sounds, but I'm just going to make you aware that there will be people to help you. The start matters as you get in will be just at the edge of the lake, and you will be called forward and asked to enter the lake in twos. Roughly every 10 seconds or so. So you'll be fed into the water in drips and drabs, effectively, in small groups, in groups of 2. So it's not going to be a mass start. There's nothing to panic about as far as that's concerned. And one thing I haven't mentioned is the actual kind of the order we're going to be setting off in. So the bulk of you have done your questionnaires, your pre-race questionnaires where you've entered your race times. So we're kind of just going through that now, actually, and just putting in your actual starting order and giving you race numbers. You're going to be going in with the fastest swimmers first, working all the way back to the ones that aren't quite as fast towards the back. So you will be in speed order. All right. So there shouldn't be too much overtaking. It won't be. Some triathlons can be a bit of a free for all, but this should be nice and steady. It should be a lot better for you guys who are feeling a little bit anxious about it. Okay, so then you'll climb out the lake again. You'll have someone to help you out of the water, and you run up a little grassy bank down the track here. And transition is not on this image here, but transition again is just the top of these trees, and then you'll be in there to get your bike.
We've had a question about whether it's worth wearing a wetsuit for 400 metres. Wearing a wetsuit is entirely down to personal preference. Some people prefer them because it gives them additional buoyancy in the water, it makes them feel warmer, or they feel it gives them a better body position so they can swim faster. So there's lots of reasons why you might want to wear a wetsuit. Some people find them really hard to get off and think that they'd be quicker without them. So I can't say whether a wetsuit is right for you or not. In terms of water temperature, we will take the temperature of the lake an hour before the start of the middle distance race, so it will. There isn't much point in us taking it the day before anyway, because it fluctuates so much in that lake. But it is British Triathlon ruling that we take the temperature an hour before the race, and that will determine whether wetsuits are optional or whether they're banned or whether they're mandatory. It's 99% likely that it will be a wetsuit optional race. It's wetsuit optional in this race up to 25 degrees. The lake has been over 25 degrees this year, but we don't expect it to be by the weekend. It's around about 20 degrees at the moment, so you'll be with or without a wetsuit will be fine. So it's just entirely down to personal preference, really.
Okay. Have we talked about? I don't know if we've talked about relay, passing the relay chips and things.
No, other than the relay is that if you're in a relay team, your next team member will be waiting at the bike rack point for your race number in transition. You must transfer your timing chip from your ankle, from the swimmer's ankle to the cyclist's ankle before they put their helmet on and before they touch their bike. Equally, when the cyclist comes back in, they must take their helmet off and rack their bike and take their helmet off before they transfer the timing chip. So remember, timing chip first from the swimmer to the cyclist, then they can put their helmet on and take their bike off the rack.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about non-relay team members and what they need to do in transition?
No, you do that.
Okay.
You're better at the technical.
So for those who've not done triathlon before, so you're run into transition, run to where you rack your bike, take your wetsuit off. You can take your wetsuit off part way down as you're running if you want to, and then take it right off when you buy your bike. Put it next to your bike. Again, please try not to obstruct anybody else's position or their run through transition. Put your bike shoes on unless they're already attached to your bike. If you're a pro and you can do a flying mount, you must put your helmet on before you take your bike off the rack. Okay, that's a rule in triathlon, that you always have your helmet on and done up before you take your bike off the rack. Then once you're ready, head out transition running with your bike, and you'll run on. Do you want to bring the map up of the route? So you'll run the opposite end, run out of transition the opposite end to the way you came in, and then you'll run up to the driveway, and there will be a mount line. So you run a short section along the driveway and you get on after the mount line. So you have to take a step over the mount line before you get on, and then you're off and away onto the bike route.
Yeah, I can't find that actually right now.
Don't worry.
Got my hands on that now. Is it not in this guide?
It
Here we
is.
go.
There
Is
we
that
go.
it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, let's bring that up so you can see that. Again, we've had another computer glitch, so hopefully this will be on the right screen. Yeah, there we go. I don't know what's going on with the computer, so I do apologise for that. Okay, so if we zoom into that a little bit. Hopefully that will just give a little bit of colour to what Corin was talking about there. So these are kind of the routes. So into the top of transition, and then out on your bike this way, nice and straightforward, out onto the main road, and you will turn left onto the course. So if I give you go onto the map now, the bike map.
I didn't say you need to put your number on your back, obviously, for the bike section.
Okay, so we're going to run through the route here. It's a fairly straightforward route, as you can see. So you come out of Compton Verney and turn left towards the village of Kyneton. You do, unfortunately, go straight into a hill. It's a fairly steady hill. It's nothing too much to worry about, but it's a hill all the same. So you go up and over the hill, and then there's a nice descent down into Kyneton. However, there are, unfortunately, long-term traffic lights. They're building some houses on the left-hand side of the road into Kyneton there, and they're building there's some traffic lights there, and we do have to stop, and we do have to abide by the traffic lights. It's actually quite a complicated little traffic light setup there, with parked cars and junctions and gravel and building works and all sorts of stuff. So you do have to be really careful through there. This is really important that you guys listen to this kind of this bit of information here, because this is a potential disqualification point. We can't, if anyone goes through the traffic lights on anything other than green, you do risk disqualification. You must go through the traffic lights only on green, and that means amber as well. So you can't kind of try and judge it and nip through on amber. You go through on green. Anything else you stop for. Okay, and there will be marshals on that particular traffic light setup, just to make sure that people are abiding by those rules, and obviously they're there for safety reasons. It is a fairly busy road, albeit on Sunday morning it shouldn't be too bad, but there are obviously still cars around. It is a live carriageway. The other reason the marshal is there is also to give you back your time that you lose if you have to stop at the lights. Okay, so we've timed the lights, and the last time we timed them, we will double check them again before race day. They were taking it. They were on red for a maximum of 1 minute and 11 seconds. So you will get, depending on when you stop in the cycle, you will get that time back, and we're also going to give you some time for slowing down and speeding up. All right, so you shouldn't miss out if you do have to stop at the lights. Okay.
And in fact, you'll get a bit of a rest.
And you get a bit of a rest. Yeah, you do get a bit of a rest. So you will be travelling down the hill towards the traffic lights. You'll see them at the bottom of the hill in the distance, so you will get plenty of warning that they're coming up. Just try and be sensible, is all we're saying. Don't try and, absolutely smash it down the hill and try and get on before they change green, because if they turn to amber before you get anywhere near them, then you might find yourself in a bit of difficulty. And like I say, there are other traffic around, and there is a little bit of gravel down the bottom there. So please be careful. Okay, we have, just so as we touch on this as well, we have looked at other alternatives in terms of, we couldn't really kind of find a different route. We wanted to go that particular route. We've asked them to take the traffic lights away. We've asked them to kind of park them at the side of the road. It's been suggested that maybe we could get you to walk through the pedestrian access, but all of these things have been looked at, and they are more dangerous than it is for you to stop and then to restart. It's taken, like I say, it is quite a complicated little setup down there, so please do that. You're going to do the loop, and then you're coming back in the same way.
Say one more thing on the traffic lights. When you are coming down the hill towards the traffic lights, if you do stop, please shout your number to the marshal there, so they can write your number down and the amount of time that you're stopped for. So it's your responsibility to shout your number. It will be on your wristband if you've forgotten it. And we're also going to be writing them on your hand for the swim to make it easier to line up in order. So please remember your number, and remember to shout it to the marshal if you have to stop.
Yeah. Okay, so that's the traffic lights. Yeah, you do have to go through it on the way back as well, so it's exactly the same process on the way back, but that's the way it is. Okay, so you're going to be going into Kyneton, and you will hit a T-junction in Kyneton. The route is clearly marked. The only place you may get a little bit confused, and it may be an error point, is at the traffic light. Sorry, at the T-junction in Kyneton. It's a proper T-junction. You either go left or you go right. You guys are going to be turning right. Okay, and again, there will be a marshal on that corner. There will be signs, so you shouldn't get it wrong. But you turn right. It is right, isn't it?
It is
it's
right. For the sprint, yeah. The middle distance will be going
Don't go
left,
the other way.
But you're going right.
You then head out of Kyneton along the road here towards Edge Hill, which is what the middle distance race was named after, and the whole kind of weekend was named after Edge Hill. You'll see it looming in the distance, but you don't need to panic, because you take a left turn just before you get to it. All right, so you take a left just on the map here, and we head out towards Temple Hardwick, which is around at the back of the DM Kyneton Army base. So you go around the back there onto the main road, turn left again, and we go all the way back up to Gaydon. It's a steady incline. You're going to go over a big, is it a motorway bridge? There's a railway bridge, isn't there? There's a railway bridge which kind of makes a bit of a hill up this section. A slight rise up into Gaydon, and then a 90-degree turn at the little traffic roundabout here, back down, head back towards Kyneton. So this is a fairly, I don't like saying a major road, because it may sound it worse than it is, but it can be quite busy. But again, it's Sunday morning. It shouldn't be too bad, but just be careful when you're riding along that particular road.
It is a nice wide road with pretty good visibility, so cars will be able to get past okay.
Yeah.
But just be sensible about your road position.
Yeah.
And if you do need to overtake, obviously, just make sure you look behind you. Don't just go overtaking people without looking. It's a live road.
Yeah. Okay, so you get up to Gaydon, turn left. Ride the road. It's a nice road all the way back to Kyneton there, and in the village of Kyneton, where you turned right at that T-junction previously, you're going to be turning right again this time to head back towards Compton Verney, through the traffic lights, up over the hill, and then back in again. Anything else we need to say about that? What about drafting? Do you want to go through drafting, or should we do that at the end?
I can talk about drafting if you can find the little image there. Hopefully you will have seen it in the Athlete's Guide. This race is a non-drafting race. That means you cannot ride close behind any other bike, in or out, whether they're part of the race or not. and you can't ride close to a vehicle because you're not allowed to gain advantage from drafting behind another bike or vehicle. So you must stay 10 metres behind any other bike unless you're overtaking, and with vehicles you've got to stay even further behind. You've got to stay 35 metres, which is a long way behind any vehicles. If you're coming up behind vehicles at a junction or other bikes at a junction, that's fine. You're not gaining any advantage by being close to them, but you need to stay 10 metres at any other time. If you want to overtake anybody, you have 25 seconds to get past. Sorry, 20 seconds to get past. So confusing the rules for middle distance. 20 seconds, you're allowed to go into the drafting zone behind somebody else and make the pass. As soon as your wheel is ahead of them, the pass has been made and they have to drop back. But please don't go bombing past someone, use all your energy and then just sit up and slow down. Make the pass and make a confident pass, and then the person behind, so if you have been overtaken, you have to make continuous progress backwards out of the draft zone, so you're then 10 metres behind the person who's overtaken you. Did that all make sense?
Yeah, did to me.
And the distance is measured from the front of the front bike's wheel to the front of the person behind's wheel. Okay, so front of the bike to the front of the bike is where it's measured. And we will have motorcycle officials out in the course, and they will be checking for drafting. So please be sensible, please take care, and please obey the rules.
Simple as that. Simple as that. Okay, so you're back into Compton Verney. Let's see if we can find the transition map again. This is a bit clunky, isn't it, doing it this way? So I do apologise. We'll get more professional this next time. Here we go. So you're going to be coming back in. This is you, the red dotted line this time. Going to be coming back in here. Sorry, did you mention the dismount line? Okay, so there's going to be a dismount line here by the welcome centre. So you must put your feet down and get off your bike before the dismount line. You're then going to run up into the top of the transition area, into transition again. Again, it's always a one-way system in transition. Go back to your particular bike spot. You're going to put your bike on the racking before you take your helmet off, and then you're going to get yourself ready to go out on the run. All right, so hopefully you remember to put your run gear in transition. You might be in trouble otherwise. So you're going to put your run gear on, and you are then going to run back out the one-way system, and it's actually, there's a green arrow. It's not quite there. It's a little bit further down here. You're going to run down through the trees here, and there's a little gate kind of halfway down here. It will be clearly marked on race day, and you're going to disappear out onto the run course. Now, is there anything else we need to talk about in terms of the bike side of things?
We've had a question about the traffic lights. How will marshals keep track of time lost by multiple competitors arriving at the lights at different times? So you need to shout your number to the marshal, and they will they'll have a sheet that's marked out in. They'll have a stopwatch, and they'll have times as to when people arrive just to tick. So we're going to make it as easy as possible for them to quickly mark down at what point people arrive. There'll be two marshals there to be keeping note of who's arriving and their numbers. But you will be spaced out on the course, and so two people. Nice simple sheet for them to work on, hopefully, and stopwatch. So hopefully it should run smoothly. It's a system that's used in plenty of events, so it's not something that we've just invented on the day. So hopefully it should be fine.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Okay, all right. So we'll nip back in. So you're on the run course now. So if you have a look at the run course. So the run course, here we go. This is kind of zoomed out here, if you like. So this is where we're going to be running out onto the meadow. You run 10 or 20 metres or so until you hit the first kind of junction on the grass. So this is, what do they call it? Old Town Meadow.
Yes.
Old Town Meadow at the back of Compton Verney. It's absolutely beautiful along here. It's just kind of it's a meadow, but they've mown nice trails through the grass for you to run on. So it'll be nice and clearly marked. So this little kind of first section here is up a grassy bank. It's not too bad, but it's certainly a little hill there. So it goes up to the top. There's actually a fence line along the top here. So you run along the fence line through. There's a nice kind of line of bushes down here, through the bushes, through the trees, I should say, all the way down to the main road. I'm moving my head out of the way of the camera because I can't see. Down down the side of the meadow. We're not on the road. It looks like it might be on the road from that image from my eyesight, but it stays on the grass. And then we take a left turn, we come all the way back, and then we go around again. So, and then when you come round the second time, you're going to take a right turn. It will be marked again. You can take a right turn and head down this little dog leg in through the gates of Compton Verney, back onto the road, Compton Verney Road, and you will finish in glory in front of the house there. The terrain is, well, it's virtually all grass, okay, but it's I say moderate quality. It's not like a bowling green, but equally it's not kind of long grass that's going to trip you up. It's regularly mown. It's a well-worn kind of path. It's a public footpath, isn't it, around the side there? So it's a decent surface for you to run on. The weather is expected to be okay. It's the last time I looked, it was kind of 19, 20 degrees and kind of 30 minutes of sun per hour. So a nice morning and perfect conditions for running in. We're not expecting, there's going to be a little bit of rain, but it shouldn't really affect the course too much. Okay, so road running shoes will be absolutely fine on a course like that. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah, road or trail, it doesn't really matter. You
Yeah.
haven't got you'll stay in the meadow for the whole run, apart from the last couple of 100 meters into the finish line. So either road or trail shoes will be absolutely fine. There's no major muddy patches or anything like that, and very little tarmac. So whatever shoes you've got, probably be fine. So it's grass. So if it's wet, there's a potential for it to be a little bit slippy, but it's very good mown path. So
Yeah.
it should be fine, whichever.
Yeah. Okay. So that'll be you. You cross the line. Your race will be finished, and we've got a commentator there. Will hopefully spot you and give you a welcome across the line there. So that'll be your race done. We are welcoming friends and family and spectators and things, which is a really nice thing to be able to do now after having been in kind of lockdown and COVID situation for such a long time. So hopefully you'll be able to bring some friends and family and other people along to support you. So transition will be open for bike collection from 11 o'clock. So some of you guys will be finishing quite considerably before that time. Again, it's staying closed predominantly because there's still going to be live races around, and sometimes when people have just finished a race, you might not be quite concentrating, and there may be a chance of someone getting in the way, and we don't want to upset anyone else's race that's still ongoing. However, we have instructed the marshals there that if it's quiet, if there's no one around, and people are coming to collect their bikes in small numbers, then we'll try and accommodate that. So I hope that makes sense. We will not kind of put a big barrier up and say you're not allowed in for an hour, even if there's no races there. We will try and have a common sense approach to that. So you will need to show your wristband to get back into transition to take your bike. So I think does that pretty much cover that? Is there anything else that you can think of on that side of things?
If you are in transition, so even after 11 o'clock, it will still be a live transition. So please be considerate about other people racing. The middle distance races will still be coming through, so make sure that you don't just dump your stuff in the aisles between the racking, or sit down and have a lie down in there. Please be considerate about the people who are still in the middle of quite a long race.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the main reason for it not being open, but we'll be as considerate, as accommodating as we can.
Yeah.
There's also, you can go and get yourself some food and things in the meantime while you're waiting, which there'll be plenty of at the finish and at the main race HQ.
Yeah, actually, we haven't kind of really touched on that a huge amount, have we? So there are places to get some food. So the Garden Shed is going to be there. It's a local cafe. They're going to be there doing some hot food throughout the day at a couple of places within the site. There's T&B Cakes, who are always a favourite at the open water swimming venues. They're going to be there with teas and coffees and their famous cakes. Who else have we got? We've got Henley Ice Cream are going to be there, knocking out some ice cream tubs for you. So if you want to cool down, have a bit of ice cream, that'll be there for you as well. And like Corin mentioned earlier on, Nerf Red will be there for you to Nuff Red. We have to find out how to pronounce it. Are going to be there for you to browse around their gear, and we're going to have our own gear as well. There, we've got some great changing robes and some hoodies and bits and bobs that you might want to look at as well. So they're going to be there for you to have a look at after the race as well. Just a couple of points just to finish off before we start kind of going through some questions that have come in. Some admin really, I guess. If any point during the race you withdraw, you must tell a member of staff, a member of the coaching staff, the marshals, or one of the Do 3 members of staff, because we obviously need to know who everybody is, and if anyone disappears, we'll be panicking and sending out search parties. So please make sure that you notify one of the members of staff if you decide not to continue the race at any point. Okay, and also if you do that, please remember you need to bring your timing chip back. They are expensive, and you might get sent a bill if you don't. They're kind of £50 each or something, these timing chips. So please remember to bring them back. Otherwise, Stu Webb will get very upset. And talking of Stu Webb, the timing for the day is being run by Stu Webb Timing. The race will be chip timed. The results will be available on the stewwebb.co.uk website. The details are in your athlete guide if you want to have a look at that website. There will be kind of live results around, but they will be provisional until we get all the adjustments for things like the traffic lights and that kind of thing. So they will be provisional, but at some point post-race, when everything's been kind of ratified, the proper results will be published. There will be trophies awarded to the first 3 male and female athletes overall. So that's something for you to work for. And there'll also be trophies awarded to the winners of each of the following age categories. So senior, veteran, super veteran, vintage. I thought I was going to say super vintage, but there isn't a super vintage. Over 100. But no, veteran, super vintage. Oh my God. Super veteran and vintage. They're the age groups we're using for this race. So there will be trophies for the winners in those age categories. Again, just some admin work for you to tidy up things for you. There will be first aid on site if it's needed, be the finishing line, and also there'll be a mobile team out and about on the course. So hopefully none of you will need that, but just in case you do. There's photographers around on site, so we've got some people doing some filming for some videos and things we're going to have produced afterwards, so you'll see some people taking your photos. And there are actually kind of a formal race photographer, Charles Whitten Photographers will be there taking your race photos, which will be available on the Charles Whitten Photography website. We've got a link again in the athlete guide, and as soon as he's done those and got them uploaded, then they'll be available for you. I understand that there's some low resolution images you can download for free, and if you want some super snazzy ones that you want to get made into proper pictures and posters and all this kind of stuff, then the high resolution images are an additional charge, just so as you're aware of that. Next year, on to next year. So next year's provisional race date is already set. It's pretty much the same time. It's not the same time next year, is it? So that's the wrong date. We just spotted as the wrong date in the athlete guide. It's still the 7th of August, isn't it? It says July in the athlete guide. So 7th of August. So basically the same time next year. So you could get get your booking in straight away because it did sell out, or you could upgrade for next year to the middle distance next year. Give yourself plenty of time to train. I think that's it for now. Should we start going through the questions again? If you're still watching, how many have we got? Oh, we've got loads of people watching. Done quite well today. We'd lost half of them by the end yesterday, haven't we? The last one was an hour and a half, so we tried to talk quickly on this one. We're at 50 minutes so far. Have you looked at many of the questions yet? Can you actually see that far?
Of them, yeah. So if I read them, then you can answer them. I'll be the
Great, yeah. Drop me in it.
So, really stupid question. There's no stupid questions.
No.
If you don't know the answer, then there's a hard chance.
I might not know the answer.
That somebody else is wondering the same thing. It's not a silly question to ask whether you need a tow float when you're just wearing a tri-suit, because obviously when we have the open water swimming, if you're not wearing a wetsuit, you do need to wear a tow float. Not in a race. So we don't need. You don't need any tow floats in the race. So the answer to that one is no. But it wasn't a silly question.
I'm going to try and be snazzy here and put that on the screen. There we go, Joe. Is there much point in a wetsuit for a 400-metre swim? Well, how would you answer that?
We've kind of answered this one already.
Okay, all right. So
I would.
Yeah, it depends what kind of level you're at, how confident you are, and how at home you feel in a wetsuit. For me, I would generally wear a wetsuit. because I feel more comfortable and a little bit quicker in a wetsuit. Some people not. It's the opposite. Some people take 3 hours to get them off. As we've mentioned kind of briefly earlier on. So it's a matter for yourself. It's a matter for yourself, really. It's something you kind of maybe decide on kind of in training in the build up to the race itself. But I wouldn't want to say one way or the other on that. It's a matter for you. I'm squinting like hell here.
Could we register earlier than 7 o'clock on Saturday evening, please?
Well, I guess it depends how early. We will be there from about 5, but we'll be doing loads of other things. I would imagine, I don't want to say yes because we'll have 100 people suddenly turning up at 5 o'clock and we won't be ready. If you want to register early and you want to give it a bit of a punt on the chance that we can do it for you, we will have the gear there, but we might be busy doing other things. If you don't mind waiting a little bit, I'm sure we can kind of squeeze you in and get you looked after a little bit sooner. But I hope you kind of know what I mean. That just don't all pitch up at 5 o'clock because we're not going to be set up geared to do that. Maybe
we're only allowed on site from 5 o'clock,
yeah.
So we can't have everything already set up by that point.
It'd be good to show Matt while you're talking. Oh, we covered that. Yeah, that was my bad. I'm sorry about that. Main question. I should read these before I actually start reading them out. We might have covered some of these.
that one. Why do we need to wait till 11 o'clock to collect bikes? That's obviously because it's a live transition, which we've covered. Race licenses, yes, you can download them and show them on the phone. Cash, it doesn't need to be cash, but you unlikely to need to pay for a day license anyway, because you should either paid for one already or have your BTF card. I'm taking part in the relay. I'm BTF, but my partner isn't. So which queue do I go to?
I don't think it really matters. the queues are just kind of to make it a little bit easier for everybody to know where to go and that kind of thing. But the reality is, the staff that are taking the registrations, they're all going to be mixing around and everything. So it doesn't matter if you're not sure. Just stand in one of them. And I'd stand in the shortest one. That's probably the best thing to do. Train for running, I think we've covered that as well. It's 90%, 95% on grass, and shoes we've covered as well. Is it likely to be damp underfoot? It may be a bit damp if it's been raining a little bit, but I wouldn't imagine anything too major. There's no kind of big muddy areas or anything like that, I don't think, is there?
No.
By the there is some by the gate, but we don't go down that kind of as close to the gate as to get into trouble with that. Drafting rules we've covered, traffic lights we've covered.
If you want a reminder of the drafting rules, they are all in the athlete guide, very clearly laid out.
Yeah. So and just touching on this, I mentioned this to the middle distance briefing the other day, that the technical staff from British Triathlon are not there to try and catch you out. They're there to try and make sure that everyone is having a fair race. So and also they're really looking for people who are gaining an unfair advantage. So for a good example of that is if you're riding close behind a car, but the car is stuck in traffic and is going at a walking pace, then clearly you don't need to keep 35 meters back, because it's just not reasonable to do that. So there is a certain amount of kind of realism that needs to be applied to this. So just think to yourself, am I genuinely gaining an advantage to this? And just be careful with the rules, obviously, but just they're not out to try and catch you out or anything like that. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Good. What else have we got? Is there a point? Have I missed one out? Oh no. Is there a point close to the end of the run where my partner can run into the finish with me? I don't see why not. The kind of the finishing route will be a kind of a minor, not a fence, but it's going to be kind of almost like, what would you call it, like a little.
There will be a barrier of some description.
Yes, but it's not going to be something that they can't get over. We're putting a rope barrier up for most of it, so it's not going to be anything that's going to stop you, and it's only going to be on one side, I think, probably anyway. So that's not a problem at all. Haven't got a problem with that. Ironman are a bit funny about that, aren't they? But no, that's all good. It's all about family friendliness, people having fun, and having a good race as well at the same time. Age group prizes, I think we've covered that. No 18 to 24 group. Isn't that? Oh, it's just seniors. Yeah,
it's seniors, vets, super vets, and vintage. So no, a race this size, you don't tend to get the 5-year age categories. Yeah. They tend to be just the sort of the four. It's four categories, isn't it?
Yeah. So next year we will. Next year we will for sure.
Trophies for the winners of those categories and overall.
Yeah. Is transition time limited? I don't know if you mean in terms of how long you've got to be in there, or how, you know, do you have to be in and out within a minute or something like that? No, it's not. Just try and make your way through it as swiftly as possible. Would the run course be open for Saturday? Well, yeah, I guess so. Okay, most of it is, because most of it, the kind of grassy area, the loop is, because that's a public footpath effectively. So yes, you can run that on the Saturday, so you can have a good old look around that on the Saturday. The kind of the tarmac and the bit of the course which is within the Compton Verney grounds is not going to be accessible before 5 p.m. because it's open to the public. You know, it's an art gallery. So unless you want to pay to enter Compton Verney, you're not going to be able to do that really. After 5 o'clock, when we effectively take control a little bit more, then you can get on. You can have a little bit more of a look around. But certainly during the day, not so much on that kind of house side, if that makes sense. Is there any bike support for punctures? There, as I mentioned earlier, Joe from Cyclists Fighting Cancer is our bike support. He's going to be there on the Saturday when you're registering. He's going to be there on the Sunday when you're registering. And he is going to be around, but the reality is he's going to predominantly be floating around on the middle distance course. That's not to say that if you get into difficulty and you can get a message of the marshal nearby or something like that, we may try and see what we can do for you. But you need to kind of effectively be as self-supported as you can on that. We can't. Yeah, I mean, Joe could be anywhere for a start. It could take a long time for him to get to you.
I think the reality for most races, whether you're racing the middle distance or the sprint distance, in case of punctures, you should take something that you can fix a puncture, a spare tube, and either a pump or a gas cylinder to inflate it. And that's a fairly standard thing. As Dave says, the middle distance course is over 80 kilometres long. So so Joe could be anywhere along that course, and it may take him a while to get you. So take a multi-tool and a spare tube and gas, and then it'll probably be a lot quicker.
Probably quicker to walk back, wouldn't it?
Know how to use it, and then that'll probably be a lot quicker than waiting for the mechanic to get to you.
Yeah, and you've got what day is it today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can practice. You can change it. You can change an inner tube. You've got time to practice between now and then. Everyone should be able to do that, really. So do the best you can. Just make sure your bike's all serviceable. I mean, in fairness, the roads are good roads. You shouldn't have any difficulty with. There's no issues. Just while I think about it, we are going out. We're marking any kind of major lumps and bumps and potholes and things. So they will be marked with spray paint. But again, obviously, keep your wits about you. But there's nothing major out there to worry about, is there? Okay. Anything else from anybody else? You've got a few seconds to get another question in, and then I think we're done. If you have any questions in the meantime, you can send them in to us. Send any questions into inquiries. Also, I think if you can still comment on this post, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube, it'll still find its way through to us, even if after we've finished this recording or this live. This will be sitting on Facebook and YouTube as a recording. So if you want to watch any part of this again, you've only got an hour and 3 minutes to sit through. So this is short. Okay, I think that's it. Yep. Anything else I can think of?
No.
Is there anything else? Oh, we've got the questions on the. Is there any questions on the spreadsheet? Let's just have a quick look at that. Where was we? If I can find it, that is. Here we go. So these, I think a lot of these questions are probably the same. There's the question about can we pick up earlier than 7 o'clock? What's the policy? That's fine. Do I have to put my wetsuit into a bag in T1 or put it in a small box?
You can just put your wetsuit by your bike. Say, as long as you're not hindering anybody else's progress by where you put it, don't put it on somebody else's bike or under somebody else's bike. Just put it neatly next to your bike, so it's out of everybody's way. You shouldn't have anything in transition that's sticking out further than the front wheel of your bike. So don't stick everything in front of your bike, just put it by the side.
Any toilets and water stations throughout the course? For the sprint course, there aren't any. It's not kind of usual. And the only reason we would have some is if it starts getting really warm and we're concerned about people overheating. But for a race of that duration, you should be able to carry enough water and food on your bike. There's obviously aid stations for the middle distance race, but not for the sprint.
Toilets wise, the nearest toilets, if you needed to use the toilet on the course, would be to come transition into the car park, wouldn't it? Where the toilet, or the welcome centre. So just next to transition, the welcome centre has toilets in it. So that would be your best option mid race. But do take whatever drink on your bike that you might need, and if you want to take any gels or anything, have them on the bike or in transition. Please make sure you don't drop litter either on the bike section or anywhere on the course. It's really important, because that's one of the biggest grumbles local residents tend to have when races are staged is litter left behind. Generally gel wrappers and things. So please don't give us a bad name by dropping litter. Yeah.
Can I swim breaststroke? Absolutely, that's fine. Not a problem with that at all. I think lots of people will be swimming breaststroke in reality, so that's not a problem at all. When will the start times be issued? Well, we're nearly there with that. We've been waiting for people to kind of fill their forms in, the start time, the estimated swim times, that kind of thing. We're nearly there. We're hoping certainly by the end of tomorrow, then they will be out to you. Okay. Everyone's got to be registered by, transition closes at 7:15 anyway. So we will have, if you don't get notified or you don't get your email or whatever, when you kind of register, then we will have your start time there anyway. So you'll still have plenty of time to figure out where you need to be when. So if all else fails, we can give it to you when you register.
Everybody's lining up from 8:30 anyway, and you're just lining up in number order. So you'll just be going off at 10-second intervals from 8:30.
Can we swim in a wetsuit? Yes, absolutely. Provided it doesn't get absolutely boiling hot over the next week, over the next few days, which is not. How is the ground going into the water? I think we've kind of touched on that really. It's lumpy and bumpy. It's a natural environment. We've matted it. We're going to have people helping you in. It's not a nice sandy bank or anything like that, so it is going to be a little bit lumpy. Effectively, you're going to step into the water, and you're going to swim off effectively from there, because the water goes fairly deep fairly quickly from the actual kind of get in area. Is there a shortcut? Who's that? That's Bex Pridham. Nice. Is there a shortcut? No, there isn't, Bex. I think we've covered everything else. Can I go barefoot from the lake to transition? Yeah.
Yes. Most people will be going barefoot from the lake to transition. Yeah. Terrain-wise, you'll mostly be running up on grass. There is a tarmac driveway between the swim and transition, but there's also a very wide grass verge. So you can either run on the verge or on the tarmac, whichever you prefer. But most people will be barefoot.
Just a couple more then. Do spectators park in the event car park, and do they have to pay entry to the grounds? Yes, they do park in this event car park, and no, they don't have to pay entry to the grounds. We have hired entirety of Compton Verney, so there's no additional charges for anybody else. Is there a car key store? So there's a car key store. We've got a hook. What do you call it? A hook board. Which will be in Race HQ. So if you want us to look after your car keys, that's absolutely fine. It's at your own risk, because we can't babysit everything, but it's going to be a board in the back of Race HQ, and there'll be someone there most of the time, so that should be fine for you.
And we'll just give you a numbered band for so we know which car keys are yours.
Good. Okay.
Yep.
No more questions coming, I don't think. Is that one at the bottom there? Nope.
Nope.
Good. All right. We've still got quite a few people watching. Well, well done to you that have survived to the end. That's really good. Thank you very much. And I hope you have a great race. We're looking forward to it. Can't wait to see you guys down there. And let's get it done. All right. Well, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me. See you on Saturday or Sunday.
All right. Take care.
Definitely Sunday.
Take care. Yeah, Sunday.